SQL commands are directions or instructions for communicating with a database and performing different tasks. Depending on the functionality, you can divide the SQL commands into 5 main groups. Data Definition Language, or DDL, is the portion of SQL that creates, alters, and deletes database objects. Commands include create, drop, alter, and truncate. Data Manipulation Language, or DML, is used for adding, deleting, and modifying data. Commands include insert, update, and delete. Data Control Language, or DCL, is used to control access to data stored in a database. Commands include grant and revoke. Data Query Language, or DQL, is used for performing queries on the data. Commands include select, where, group by, having, order by, as, and join, just to name a few. Transaction Control Language, or TCL, is used to manage transactions in the database. Commands include begin transaction, commit, rollback, save point, and set transaction. Data Definition Language consists of the SQL commands that can be used to define the database schema. It is a syntax for creating and modifying database objects such as tables, indices, and users. The create command is used to create the database or its objects, like tables, indexes, functions, views, stored procedures, triggers, and users. Here are some examples of how we would create a database and how we would create a table with its columns. The alter command is used to make changes to a table, view, or the entire database. We can add, modify, and drop constraints, columns, and indexes using the alter command in SQL. Here are some examples of how we would add a column to an existing table, and removing a column from a table, and updating an existing column data type. Truncate table removes all rows from a table or specified partitions of a table without logging the individual row deletions. It is similar to the delete statement with no where clause. However, it is faster and uses fewer system and transaction log resources. Here are some examples of truncating a single table and multiple tables. The drop command is used to delete a database or its objects. The drop command permanently deletes the object from the database. Here are some examples of dropping a database and dropping a table within a database. Data Manipulation Language, or DML, is a subset of operations used to insert, update, and delete data in a database. Insert is used to insert new rows into a table. You can insert a single row at a time or several rows at a time. Here is an example of inserting a single row and an example of inserting multiple rows. Update is used to replace values in specific table columns within the database. Here is an example of using the update command. Note that the where condition is optional. Delete is used to delete rows from a table within the database. Here is an example of using the delete command. Note the where condition is optional. Data Query Language commands are used to retrieve data from one or more tables in a database. They allow you to specify what columns and rows you want to select, filter, sort, group, and aggregate the data. You can also join multiple tables, use subqueries, and perform various calculations and functions on the data. The most common DQL command is the select statement. The select command, in combination with other SQL clauses, is used to retrieve and fetch data from databases and tables based on certain conditions. It allows you to specify the columns and expressions that you want to display in the result set. You can also include the from clause to indicate the table or tables that you want to query. Here is an example of using the select statement. Here the expression can be a single column or a list of columns. To select data from all columns, use the asterisk. Note that the where clause is optional. Data control language is used to control access to data stored in a database. DCL is crucial for ensuring security and proper data management, especially in multi-user database environments. Grant is used to give users access privileges to the database. These privileges can include the ability to select, insert, update, and delete over database objects like tables and views. In this example, Grant gives user 123 the permission to read data from the employee table. Revoke is used to remove previously granted access privileges from a user. In this example, revoke would remove user 123's permission to read data from the employee table. Transaction control commands are used with DML commands such as insert, update, and delete. Some RDBMSs support DDL commands with transactions. Begin transaction indicates the start point of an explicit or local transaction. Commit is used for storing changes performed by a transaction. When a commit command is issued, it saves all of the changes since the last commit or rollback. Here is an example of using begin transaction with commit. If there is an error or system failure prior to issuing the commit, the transaction is rolled back. Rollback is used to undo transactions that have not already been saved to the database. Here is an example of using rollback. A save point is a point in a transaction in which you can roll the transaction back to a certain point without rolling back the entire transaction. In this example, we will create a save point named after updates. Then we will follow with an insert into statement. Calling the rollback to save point will roll back the changes shown here. Committing the transaction will save the changes shown here. Set transaction sets the values for the properties of the current transaction, such as the transaction isolation level and access mode. Set transaction will set the transaction access mode for the tables. Set transaction isolation level defines which transaction must be isolated from the data modifications made by any other transactions. I hope you found summary of SQL commands helpful. If you have, click on the like button. And to receive any updates to this channel, click on the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching.